Welcome, cat-hating dog lovers, to Geek Salad's retro movie reviews from the Geek Salad Podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And we continue with this October's Trick or Treat, where Mike and I find a movie that neither of us has seen and watch it, and then we review it and decide whether or not it is in fact a trick or a treat. I have mentioned on the prior to that this is a feat easier said than done. We did manage to find one, a new release that came out this summer.
Very new release.
Yes, DC's League of Super Pets, featuring half of the main cast of Jumanji, or the new Jumanji movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's harder to find a rock movie that doesn't have Kevin Hart in it.
Sure, we could find one, but
actually, sorry, switch that. It's hard to find a Kevin Hart movie that doesn't have The Rock in it,
or a good Kevin Hart movie that doesn't have Dwayne The Rock Johnson in it.
Yeah, that's a lot harder to find.
Yeah. So, we both watched it. It just made its debut on HBO Max a few weeks ago. What were your thoughts?
I thought it was charming. I thought it was really charming and funny. I kind of had high hopes because like a couple of my coworkers had seen it and said, I actually really enjoyed it. And
Yeah.
but after the last couple of weeks, I've been like, all right, maybe I should temper my opinions. I really enjoyed it. I thought I had a lot of fun with it. There were issues, a few minor issues, but for the most part, I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I thought that, Dwayne Johnson could do no wrong, especially when he's in this element. He's proven in the last 10 years that he is great at family films.
Yeah. And he's proven in the last maybe 5 years he's actually pretty darn good at voice acting as well.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is all sold on him. I found that overall the voice cast was fantastic. This was a well cast movie, even in certain roles like Krasinski as Superman was fine.
I did enjoy Keanu Reeves as Batman.
I did too. I had issues, but they don't come from him. But I'll talk about those when we talk about the issues with the movie. Mark Maron as Lex Luthor was, I think, the most inspired casting.
Honestly, that's the one. That was one of the ones I'm like, all right, it's fine. It doesn't offend me. That doesn't really, jump out at me.
He's kind of a crank. I mean, his entire persona through 30 years of stand-up comedy he's kind of just been that crank.
Yeah.
And having that as Lex Luthor, I thought worked.
I honestly, I kind of liked Maya Erskine as Mercy a little bit more than I liked Mark Maron.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Mercy doesn't have much to do, but when she has a line, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. But I like Kate McKinnon was fantastic. I love Kate McKinnon
as the villainous Lulu.
Yes, I enjoyed Vanessa Bayer.
Honestly, she was the standout for me. I was surprised how much I really liked PB.
I'm kind of surprised she doesn't do more work. Vanessa Bayer on SNL was always fantastic, and having her, this was just kind of like, we just remember how great she is, and I know she had a show, Amazon, maybe. She was doing something.
It's the first time I've really heard her name, and I really liked her voice acting for PB, and I really liked PB. She was a fangirl. I thought she was a fun character.
Yeah. Diego Luna was essentially doing the Pepe Le Pew or the Speedy Gonzalez thing, and Natasha Lyonne. It took me a while to realize that was Natasha Lyonne
as
the turtle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know Natasha Lyonne. I don't. Well, at least not off the top of my head.
Okay, Natasha Lyonne was a child star, and she had her issues with drugs and everything, and started doing Orange is the New Black. And then after that, she She's on the show Russian Doll on Netflix.
Okay, I never
Okay.
really watched any of
Yeah.
them.
And she's
What the?
hey, excuse me.
That sounds like cat fighting now.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Mary's just like, what the hell? Yep. Nope. Speaking of super pets, my cats are fighting. So
Okay.
it's just a thing that happens. Pippin, like Mary will stand up to show set. Pippin runs away.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So I mean, the voice casting of this movie was really good. It was really inspired. And I think that's really sells the movie itself. It's based on the charm of the actors. Because I'll be 100% honest with you, this was essentially The Secret Life of Pets with capes.
You see, I've never watched Secret Life of Pets, but I mean, most of the characters I enjoy. Like I thought Crypto was fantastic, actually.
Yeah, I liked Crypto. Now, hear me out on this, because this is where my mind began to wander while I was watching the movie. I feel like there were two other directions that they could have completely gone in with this movie, and it still would have worked. And realistically, you wouldn't even needed to change up the voice cast. Time to vamp, Mike.
Okay.
I think he said that when I went to go check on the cats.
Oh, cool.
These things do. There is a delay when people do text us. Thanks, Kurt. Yeah. So the first way that you could have done was you continue with the League of Super Pets, but you don't make up half of the characters. Ace and Crypto are the only two characters that are actual super pets. Ace has always been Batman's dog, even though he had no superpowers, and Crypto was always Superman's dog. But there is a wealth of 1950s animal sidekicks that they could have gone with.
Are you talking about the Super Chimp?
Beppo, the Super Chimp. There was Comet, Supergirl's horse, who was in love with Supergirl.
Yeah,
that
was creepy though.
It was creepy. I mean, you obviously could leave that out or just make allusions to those in the know. But I feel like that is one way they could have gone with it, where they didn't have to make up these characters and try to
I did love it when Green Lantern was talking about, I thought I had a pet squirrel back on Oa. Turns out he was in love with me. That was kind of weird.
Chip.
Yeah, Chip.
Or just Chip.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was one way they could have gone. The other way they could have gone, and I'm sorry to compare this to Marvel, but if this were Marvel, this is what we would have gotten. Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew. You do not need to change a single voice actor for anything. And you could have had a league of super animals that are Superman adjacent. Superman did appear in their first issue. And that could have been super fun. And I say it's something that, if this were under Marvel's umbrella, they would have done, is because we all know now who Spider-Ham is.
Yeah.
Eventually, we will get more Spider-Ham. I think more so whenever Marvel Studios finally takes over the Sony Spider-Man agreement.
Yeah.
Please. Well, I mean, nobody wants Madam Web.
Yeah. No, that's true. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if we get more Spider-Ham and Into the Spider-Verse 2 and 3.
We will. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's going to be that. But I feel like the opportunity there, having watched this, I finished watching this on Sunday, and then yesterday's announcement of James Gunn taking over DC Studios really was like, oh, he would have done that. James Gunn would have done Captain Carrot. And it's entirely possible that could be a thing. And I still think that they could have taken the voice actors, Dwayne Johnson as Captain Carrot. You could have Kevin Hart doing Pig Iron. There's plenty of characters there that they could have gone with. Vanessa Bayer could have been Ali Cadabra.
Honestly, I don't know any of these characters.
Okay. It is actually a pretty fun it's a pretty fun comic series. that had a really good, like, they had a comeback in like the mid '80s with the Oz Wonderland War, where the
Um,
denizens of Oz were at war with the denizens of Wonderland, and Captain Carrot and his amazing zoo crew had to kind of keep the peace.
okay.
Yeah, definitely, definitely worth checking out. But
Yeah.
I really felt like that is where I would kind of wished it went, because it went to the whole, well, I had a loving family once, and then through some misunderstanding, they threw me in this adoption agency.
Well, you see, maybe that's why I enjoyed it a little bit more because you know of another option that they could have
Yeah.
gone in,
Okay.
and whereas me, I don't know anything about Captain Carrot. I only know this, and it's like, you know, for what they're giving me, I don't mind it. If I'm honest, though, the weak point of the cast is probably Kevin Hart.
Yep. It's Kevin
Ace,
Hart being Kevin Hart being Kevin Hart.
yeah, Ace was easily the. I mean, despite his tragic backstory, he was kind of the least interesting character in there.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I know. I felt like he had the least amount of character development, and they gave him a backstory, and he still felt like the least fleshed out character.
yeah.
Especially because I didn't quite understand his powers. He's invulnerable,
But he still feels pain.
but he's still, exactly. It's like, what's the hmm?
Yeah,
Hmm? Yeah.
and
Um.
and honestly, for me, my honestly, beyond Kevin Hart, my biggest issue with this one is the third act fight against the giant Lulu.
Oh.
That you did not need that. You know why they put that in there? Because they introduced the idea of the solar paw punch earlier, and so they had to find a way to make him use it. And
Yep.
and honestly, even while watching it, I was like, when they introduced the solar paw punch, I'm like, okay, well, they're going to use that in the climax, and Ace is going to somehow save the day and save him and from keep him from destroying himself.
Yeah.
And boom, that's exactly what happened. I saw it coming. It was not that whole climax was. They should have ended it with the first defeat of Lulu. They really
Yeah.
didn't need more.
It definitely, it felt like it went on too long. I mean, the movie's an hour and 45 minutes long, and this could
The
have been a
last,
tidy 90 minutes.
yeah, the last 15 minutes you did not need.
Well, yeah, because it felt repetitious. It's like we
Yeah,
had the 3 stages of Lulu through this entire thing.
yeah.
All right, another thing, I mentioned that I really enjoy Keanu Reeves doing Batman. Can we lay off the Batman tropes, or the self-awareness of the Batman tropes? Because
I mean, that's right out of Lego Batman, though.
no, I understand that, but that's the problem. It's straight out of Lego Batman. It happened. It happened 5 years ago when we got Lego Batman. Do we need to rehash these jokes?
I didn't mind it because it fits for this movie. It fits for like the whole tongue-in-cheek feel of this movie. Like if it were a little bit more serious, I'd be like, oh, okay, ease off a little bit. But because of the whole concept of this movie, I'm like, all right, it fits, so I'm willing to let him go with it.
Yeah, it's also the gamble too that kids have not seen Lego Batman.
Yeah.
But it's just, it to me, it just felt like we this is ground we've tread on 1,000 times. We get it, DC. This is about as self-aware as you're gonna get. Or the whole, man, I bet Bruce Wayne really would get angry if these things happen. That kind of stuff.
The Squeezy Bruce.
So,
and then the Trooper Man.
yeah.
That was cute. That was cute.
Yeah, no, it was cute. I just, again, I feel like, just based on my stupidly encyclopedic knowledge of superpowered animals in the DC universe,
that is a very
feel,
niche knowledge of yours.
Yes, I really feel like there were other things. There were other venues that they could have taken this.
Yeah.
And, again, who's to say that they won't happen, especially if James Gunn is in charge not only of the DC universe, or the DC Cinematic Universe. I think it's no longer the extended. It's no longer the DCEU. It's the DCU now, I believe.
Well, it's just DC films, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he's in charge of both live action and animated, this is entirely something that we could see.
Hey, you know what? I do believe this movie did do well.
I think for an animated movie in the summer, yeah, it did pretty well. Didn't do Disney numbers, but
no, but pulled in 203 on a budget of 90. So
203 globally, though, right?
I think that's that's on Wikipedia, so I'm assuming that's the global box office.
Yeah. Okay.
Plus, I'm sure it did pretty good numbers on HBO Max, so I'm sure there's enough meat on the bone to do a sequel, and maybe they'll bring in Captain Carrot for the sequel.
Maybe. It's gonna be interesting to see if this is something that they choose to follow up with. Again, I enjoyed this. This is, I mean, if we're ranking now, this is definitely a treat in my book.
Oh, absolutely a treat. And for me, it's my favorite thing that we've watched so far.
So far. Well, we got one more to go with, and we'll talk about that in just a second.
Yeah.
Now, we did mention that last week there were some parallels to Red Notice. So these are two Dwayne Johnson movies. Also, the composer, Steven Jablonsky, was the composer for both Red Notice and League of Super Pets.
I will say, you know what? They gave Crypto a lot more character development than they ever gave the Rock's character in Red Notice.
That's very, very true. Yeah, all right. So another thing too, and this just kind of drove me nuts, just more on the comic book purity level here, is that Crypto managed to escape Krypton, and he's been Superman's dog the entire time.
You know what? That's another thing I did like about this one, is it did give me a couple of pretty like actual emotional moments. Like a moment where he wriggles out of Jor-El's arms and escapes into the pod, and then baby Kal-El is crying there, and he kind of snuggles up. I was like, that is a really sweet moment. I really enjoyed that.
I don't know. Did you notice that they actually used the themes for both Batman and Superman?
I noticed
theme and the Elfman theme.
Yeah, I noticed I didn't notice the Elfman theme, but I did notice, like, especially Crypto did going for a walk or something like that. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah,
but
there were hints of the theme within the score. Especially when Batman arrives, they'll do a little like da 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 da.
Oh, nice. I didn't notice that part, but I did notice the Superman, the John Williams theme.
Right. I just, watching the movie at the very beginning, and I'm like, you could have used Brando's voice, you cowards.
No, because then they have to pay his estate.
Yeah. Oh, they could have just had Alfred Molina do his voice, because he did the voice of Jor-El.
Yeah. Or they could have brought in. They could have had Man of Steel Jor-El.
Oh, Russell Crowe.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I can never remember Russell Crowe's name for some reason.
That's interesting.
I keep thinking I was thinking Guy Gardner. I'm like, no, it's not Guy Gardner. I don't know why.
The Green Lantern with the turtleneck.
Yeah, and the bowl cut.
So yeah, and so I mean they did a nice job of throwing to some of the different things there. I like some of the character. I like some of the voices that they use for some of the characters in terms of, Jamila Jamil as Wonder Woman, Jermaine Clement as Aquaman. I thought that was really good. Daveed Diggs was Cyborg, which that was a little weird, just with the side, the
half afro,
out of the helmet afro.
But when Aquaman was in that little tank, when it was in that little aquarium, and they fed him fish food, and he's like, oh.
Yeah. And I did enjoy the stuff with Dog L.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was Keith
David. Keith David. Sorry, there's a David Keith and there's a Keith David.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty fun.
Wish there was a way to skip this intro.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I enjoyed this movie. Not as much as you, but I feel like there's plenty of meat on this dog bone to enjoy.
Nice.
See what I did there.
Oh, wait. Actually, I'm looking at the cast here.
Yeah.
Alfred Molina did do the voice of Jor-El.
Yeah, I said that.
I thought you were saying it would be nice if. I didn't
Oh no
realize
no no
he
no
actually
no
did.
no no no! I said it was Alfred Molina.
And Lena Headey did Laura.
Yeah, I'm sure she was
Nice.
drinking that entire time too, because I can only think of her as Cersei Lannister, just a glass of wine.
Which is why I'm glad I've never seen
Game of Thrones.
because
Yeah, we
I've
used
not.
to call it Wine Time with Cersei.
Yeah.
So it was. I mean, yeah. Overall, I enjoyed this movie. This is definitely the best thing that we've watched within the three.
Yeah.
But
Actually, and one more gripe I've got about this one.
yeah,
And me being a massive cat guy, why was this so? This was aggressively anti-cat.
that drives me nuts about dog movies. It really does drive me nuts about dog movies. That they're aggressively anti-cat.
Yeah, whenever your main character's dog, the main villain, or at least one of the main villains, is always a cat. And it's like,
right?
Why? No, I'm sure she would have she or he or whatever that cat was. I'm sure they would have helped him out, but no, we've got to be a villain cat. No.
Yep, exactly. No, we've got a chipmunk and a pig and a turtle.
Yeah,
they're
that bugged the hell out of me. It's like, dude,
yeah,
I love cats. Cats are really nice animals.
yeah.
What the hell
They
is
can be
this?
dicks too, but they're
can
definitely
be,
yeah.
Not my kitty. My kitty did more
Yeah.
kitty ever if you want.
Yeah, well, we just saw what went on in my house. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I really like this. So, next week, we're closing this one out.
And we're pulling an audible as well.
Yeah. So, originally, when Mike and I were discussing this, we had decided that we were going to do the live-action Dumbo because neither of us had seen it. But after we had our conversation last week about Red Notice, Mike had the brilliant idea that neither he or I have seen Uncharted. Especially after we had our conversation about the video game Uncharted.
We've never seen the movie, but we have both played the video games.
Yeah, we're both huge fans of Uncharted, the video game. So next week, to close out our Trick or Treat series, we are going to be talking about Uncharted, starring Tom Holland and Mac Wahlberg.
Mac Wahlberg.
Mac Wahlberg. It is Wahlberg is. You were the worst new kid, Donnie. Danny fucking Wood had more talent than you, Donnie.
Hey, Jordan was better than you.
Oh, man. So anyway, yeah, so we're going to be talking about that next week. So I'd love to know what y'all think about Uncharted. But we also want to know, too, what were your thoughts on DC League of Super Pets? Leave a polite comment below. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button because we do this every week. We talk movies. We got a new podcast episode coming out tomorrow. Where we talk about all our favorite seasonal foods and have a couple of side conversations on top of that.
Lengthy side conversations.
Yeah, some lengthy side conversations. Not bad for an hour-long episode.
Yeah, so we've got first time we all got together in the same room, so we were just shooting the shit sometimes.
Why the hell not? Yeah. So also don't forget, give this video a like. Tell your friends about Geek Salad too, because love the views, love the subscriptions. Yes, love that. And Mike and I do host a podcast, as I mentioned before, called Geek Salad. You can check that out wherever you get your podcasts, Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts. We're there. We also have the live feed for our podcast right here on our YouTube channel. You can follow us on the social medias on Geek Salad, on Twitter at Geek Salad Radio, and on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast. Check out our TeePublic store, keyword Geek Salad Podcast, for all your geek salading needs.
Right.
So until next time, I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike the Super Pup.
Go forth and be nerdful. We'll talk to you later.
I forgot I have to